Mira couldn't stop smiling at her reflection. At 27, she finally felt she'd met the man she'd prayed for. Adrian seemed perfect, charming, successful, attentive, and most of all, he adored her. They'd met at a friend's wedding 6 months earlier, and from their first dance, Mira sensed he was different. He ran a thriving logistics company and treated her like a queen, weekly flowers, surprise dinners, gifts that made her friends tease, "You're lucky, he's husband material." Her parents adored him too, especially when he honored their customs without complaint. The morning she slipped on her gown, Mira thought she was the luckiest woman alive, unaware that her beautiful day would open the door to her darkest night. The ceremony in Starlight Chapel was picturesque. Mira floated in lace, Adrian looked regal in charcoal. Friends and relatives packed the pews. Yet something about Adrian's family felt off. They occupied the front row but barely smiled or clapped. His mother, Madame Ebo, kept studying Mira with cool, measuring eyes, while his father and 2 brothers watched with the same unblinking intensity. "They're just reserved," Adrian murmured when she mentioned it. "My people aren't very expressive." At the Lakeside Pavilion reception, they warmed up, and everyone ate and danced. Still, Mira felt observed, as if someone were counting her breaths. After a sunlit honeymoon, Adrian drove Mira to their new home in Crestview Grove, an upscale neighborhood with trimmed hedges and whisper-quiet streets. "Welcome to your palace," he said, carrying her across the threshold. The house was all glass and marble, with a garden like a postcard. But a chill lived there, something still and listening. That first night, Mira heard sounds upstairs, as if something heavy were sliding across the floor. Adrian shrugged. Old houses. Probably pipes or rats in the ceiling. Mira knew it was something else. The next morning, Madame Ebo arrived. Tall, elegant, mid-50s, her gaze seemed to slice through facades. "Welcome, my daughter," she said with a smile that never reached her eyes. "There are traditions we keep in the Azuka family." She handed Mira a handwritten list. 1. Do not step outside after 9 p.m. 2. Keep a bowl of milk by your bed every night. 3. Never question family business. 4. Most important, never enter the cellar. "These keep our home blessed and you safe," Madame Ebo said. Mira tried to be gracious, but the rules made her skin prickle. She asked Adrian later, and he tensed. "Please do as my mother says. Our customs have protected us for generations." Mira was educated and practical. One evening she decided to test the boundaries. At 10 p.m., she carried trash to the curb. From the Azuka house next door came a low, sustained hissing. Behind their upstairs windows, huge shapes shifted, too large, too fluid to be human. She hurried inside, heart tumbling. That night she dreamt of coiling bodies and golden eyes. In the morning, the bowl of milk by her bed was empty. She hadn't touched it. Days passed. By daylight, the house felt normal. After dark, it breathed and whispered. Something slid within walls, soft hisses threaded the air. When Mira shook Adrian awake, he slept like stone and remembered nothing. "You're just stressed," he said. "Maybe see a doctor." One night, following the sound, she found herself at the locked cellar door. The hissing ceased, as if whatever was below had paused to listen back. Then a whisper drifted up, her name, but wrong, too smooth and cold. Mira. She needed answers. She began with Auntie Kika, an elderly vendor who sold vegetables on the corner of Willow Lane. Friendly at first, Auntie Kika stiffened when she learned Mira had married into the Azuka family. "Oh, child," she whispered, glancing around. "May heaven shield you." She spoke in low, scared tones, animals vanishing, visitors falling ill, impossible things seen after midnight. Other neighbors quietly echoed her, stories of giant serpents sleeping from the Azuka compound, and brides who married into the family only to vanish. "Run," an old man told her. "They are not like us." Mira searched the regional archive at the Riverbend Library. Old clippings, decades back, set her blood on ice, women who married Azuka men, then disappeared or died in animal attacks. One headline read, "Local wife claims husband transforms at night, disappears after denials." Another, dated 2010, described Adrian's elder brother's wife, mauled by an unidentified predator. Witnesses mentioned a massive snake nearby. That evening, Mira confronted Adrian with the articles. He went ashen, then angry. "Who's been filling your head with village gossip?" he demanded. "These are official reports," Mira said, voice shaking. "How many women must die around your family before it stops being superstition?" He paced, eyes bright with something feral. "You don't understand," he said hoarsely. "I love you. I would never harm you. Please, just follow the rules." Mira pretended to sleep that night. Near midnight, Adrian rose. Moonlight poured across the floor as his skin seemed to ripple, limbs lengthening, face unmaking itself. In moments, where her husband had stood, a colossal python coiled, scales burnished like old coins, the eyes unmistakably his. The serpent held her gaze, as if confirming she understood, then poured through the window and vanished into the silver night. By dawn, Adrian slept peacefully beside her, human again. The next afternoon, Madame Ebo visited. "You look troubled," she said pleasantly. "Bad dreams?" The question felt like a knife in velvet. "I need the truth," Mira said. Madame Ebo's eyes glinted. "Truth?" She waited. "I know what happens at night," Mira whispered. "I know what you become." A bit of silence. Then Madame Ebo laughed, dry, almost sibilant. "So, you finally see." "Good. Pretense is tiresome." She sat, eyes now gleaming faintly. "Our lineage carries a gift from a great serpent spirit we sheltered long ago. It blessed us with power and long life. But gifts require upkeep." She stood, moving with eerie fluidity. "We must feed the spirit. Mostly animals. But every few years, it demands more." "You mean human sacrifice?" Mira breathed. "Not sacrifice," Madame Ebo purred. "Partnership. Brides who accept our ways live long, protected lives. Those who resist," she shrugged toward the past Mira had already read. "The choice is yours, join us and share our strength, or defy us and face consequences. But there is no living. You're Azuka now." Terror cooled Mira's blood. She called her best friend, Irene, that night and spoke in code, "I need to visit my sick aunt," hoping she'd understand. In the morning, Adrian blocked the door. "Where are you going?" His voice was different, hard and proprietary. "To see my aunt," she said evenly. "No. Mother told me about your curiosity. We can't have you talking to the wrong people." He locked the doors and took her phone. For the first time, Mira saw her husband clearly, not a partner, but a captor. That night, under a fat moon, the Azuka clan gathered in the yard. Adrian, his parents, his brothers, and the brothers' wives, who stood chanting in a language Mira didn't know. Before her eyes, they shifted, Adrian into a golden python, his father into an ink-dark mamba, his mother into a cobra with a proud hood, his brothers into sleek, deadly vipers. A goat was led out. What followed was ritual and hunger in equal measure. When it ended, scales flashed in a ring before they reassembled, human once more. "Soon, you'll join us," Madame Ebo called up to Mira's window. "The spirit has tasted your presence. It grows impatient." Desperate, Mira remembered her grandmother's counsel, old protections, old prayers. Salt and iron repel dark things. Prayer is a sword. While the family was out by day, she poured a ring of salt around her bed and slid iron nails under her mattress. She retrieved a small pendant her grandmother had asked the pastor to bless, one Madame Ebo had told her to put away because it clashed with our traditions. That night, the hissing stayed far from her door. In the morning, Adrian seemed uneasy near her, hovering at a distance he couldn't explain. The protections worked. She needed escape and an ally. Her cousin, Kin, lived 2 hours away and worked with the police. Using the tiny bathroom window, Mira dropped folded notes into the trash bin, begging the garbage collector, Mr. Bello, to contact her parents for a message relay, promising to pay him later. Meanwhile, the Azukas pressed harder. "The spirit grows hungry," Madame Ebo warned. If you won't come willingly to the next feeding, we will have to compel you. Mira knew compel could mean death or something worse. On a rain/Thursday, she made her move. Keane had gotten the message. He'd wait by the main road with police backup. Mira had learned the family's hours. Between midnight and dawn, they preferred their serpent skins. At 1 a.m., she cracked the bedroom window with tools she'd hidden. The rain masked her scent and noise. She slipped outside, whispers of hissing behind her, and ran, clutching the pendant and praying under her breath. She was nearly to the road when something vast slid fast behind her. She glanced back, Adrian's golden coils coming on with terrifying speed. Keane, she screamed, bursting onto the asphalt. Headlights flared, door slammed. Mira, here. Keane shouted, sprinting toward her with 3 officers. The serpent lunged, but the wash of bright light and shouting men halted it. As beam struck its scales, it recoiled, seeded, and vanished into the dark shrubs. You're safe now, Keane said, wrapping a blanket around her shaking shoulders. The officer scanned the empty roadside, baffled. Ma'am, you said your in-laws planned to harm you, but we don't see anyone. Mira swallowed. They don't come out when there are too many witnesses. Please, just take me somewhere safe. I have evidence at home. As the convoy pulled away, she felt eyes on her from the Azuka compound, several pairs, faintly glowing. This wasn't over. But she was alive. In the months that followed, Mary moved back in with her parents and began therapy. Time did its quiet work. Years later, she married a kind man who loved without control and protected without cages. She learned the difference between devotion and possession, tradition and tyranny. She never forgot the Azukas, nor allowed them to poison her hope. Not every smiling welcome hides love. Sometimes it hides a trap. Trust your instincts. Ask hard questions. Don't ignore red flags, no matter how dazzling the romance or how grand the promises. Your safety may depend on it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, share and drop your comment.